Battle through the firmament. Grand world. Chapter 315 Intervention. At the top of the Heaven Pillar Peak, the stellar energy tore through the air, causing a buzzing sound to be heard. Everyone's eyes were fixed on the martial stage without exception. Xiaoyan's palms were placed on Zhu Tianho's chest, and the latter was sent flying. Zhu Tianho's face was flushed red, and his chest was almost caved in. His body was sent flying backwards, and blood was flowing out from his nose. Hua, just as he was about to fall off the martial stage, the space behind him suddenly became chaotic. Fire source Qi surged violently in the air. It turned into a fire net that was hard to see with the naked eye behind him and caught Zhu Tianho steadily. With a leap, Zhu Tianho landed on the martial stage. Both of his eyes were red as he stared at Xiaoyan, who was also gasping for breath. Endless shock flashed across his eyes. His palm touched his face. The blood on his face was burned into nothingness by the flame. He stared at Xiaoyan and asked in a deep voice, "What is your flame?" Xiaoyan was breathing heavily. Even though the origin monic Qi had merged with the yin and yang, which was a huge improvement compared to before, under such a huge consumption of energy, it was still green and yellow. The weakness in his body made him dizzy. After listening to Zhu Tianho's words, Xiaoyan raised his head and smiled, but he did not say anything. Seeing Xiaoyan's appearance, Zhu Tianho suddenly shouted, "The sacred fire body is the sacred body of fire. It can control all kinds of flames. No matter what kind of flame it is, it will tremble in front of me. How can you be safe and sound?" At this moment, the demonic flower on Zhu Tianho's forehead had dimmed. The redness in his eyes had become even thicker. Sacred spirit fire body. It's actually the sacred spirit fire body. Elder Wu was stunned when he heard this. His eyes revealed a trace of shock. Then, as if he had thought of something, his sharp eyes instantly stared at Xiaoyan. He muttered in his heart, "According to the ancient records, the sacred spirit fire body is known as the Emperor Physique of Fire. It can control 10,000 flames, but there is a type of flame in the great world. It has long since broken away from the category of ordinary flames, reaching the level of a sacred object. Even a fully mastered sacred spirit fire body might not be able to completely control it. This fellow actually possesses a monic flame." Elder Wu's gaze was like a sword as he instantly saw through the flame around Xiaoyan's body. Immediately, he was secretly speechless as he exclaimed in shock. Since he possessed a monic flame, it was likely that he was not inferior to Mehuyang, who was at the same time as him. Xiaoyan merely snorted softly in the face of Zhu Tianho's question. The lack of origin monic Qi in his body caused him to feel quite uncomfortable. On the other hand, although Zhu Tianho had a tired expression, he was a little better compared to Xiaoyan. "I'll let you see the true power of the sacred spirit fire body." Zhu Tianho's eyes were as red as blood. The demonic flower on his forehead bloomed once again, like a holy spirit that had awakened from the dead, blooming with a demonic red. Boom! As the flower bloomed again, Zhu Tianho's body seemed to be filled with strength once again. Scarlet flames curled around his body, and the surrounding fire source roared. Like a peerless fire god, he rushed towards Xiaoyan. The flow of the fire source energy around him could naturally be clearly felt by Xiaoyan. Under the control of Zhu Tianho's sacred spirit fire body, it felt like the sky and earth were pressing down on him. This guy is overdrawing his ability. Mehiyu's illusory purple eyes could see the flow of the origin Qi in Zhu Tianho's body more clearly than the others. When she saw the shocking changes in Zhu Tianho's body, she couldn't help but open her red lips and reveal a trace of shock on her pretty face. When Mehuyang heard this, his expression became solemn. He looked at Elder Wu, who was not far away. When he saw that the latter did not have any reaction, he immediately furrowed his brows as if he was thinking about something. Xiaoyan inhaled a deep breath of air in the face of Zhu Tianho's strength. Both of his feet tightly grabbed onto the ground. Spiritual strength flowed out from between his brows as he carefully observed Zhu Tianho's actions. At the same time, the monic flame was already grasped in his palm. He poured the remaining few origin monic kiss within his body into it. In an instant, the monic flame had already swelled with the wind. The hot flame seemed to have even incinerated the space. Zhu Tianho's figure was like a meteor shower. Within a few breaths, he had arrived in front of Xiaoyan. His 10 fingers were like claws. The flame on them surged. The fire source key around his body whistled as he arrived. His aura was overbearing. On Zhu Tianho's forehead, the flower was blooming in a demonic manner. If one looked closely, it looked like it was going to explode at any moment. A crimson liquid slowly flowed down. Both of his eyes were blood red, and they were filled with a brutal aura. Xiaoyan had a solemn expression. The moment Zhu Tianho attacked, the ki in his body rose abruptly. Flames surged around his body as he attacked Zhu Tianho. A shocking explosion that wasn't as expected was heard. Xiaoyan and Zhu Tianho were stunned for a moment, and they looked at it carefully. A young man had appeared between the two of them. He stood between the two of them and extended both of his hands, blocking all of Zhu Tianho's and Xiaoyan's attacks. After a moment of shock, Xiaoyan immediately reacted. He looked at Mehuyang in front of him in shock. The latter had a calm expression on his face. With just a palm, he had blocked his attack. Surprise flashed across Zhu Tianho's bright red eyes. Immediately, he furiously cried out, "Mehuyang, what are you trying to do?" Everyone looked at the arena in shock. Mehuyu blinked her eyes and seemed to have understood something. She remained silent and did not speak. "Mehuyang." Elder Wu frowned, then stood up and said in a cold voice. Disturbing the competition in Heaven Pillar Peak, even the students of Realm in Valley had gone too far. However, Mehuyang was not only a student, he was also a Saint rank trial participant. He also had the authority of a rank 2 elder in the academy, so Elder Wu didn't dare to fall out with him on the spot. "Elders, this competition is exciting, but if you continue watching, I'm afraid you will regret it." "What do you mean?" Elder Wu frowned when he heard this. The anger in his heart had calmed down a lot. With Mehuyang's character, he would never do something that he didn't want to do. Thinking of this, his tone softened a lot. "Everyone knows about my sister's illusion purple eye, so they can see more than everyone else. This match is no longer a simple match. It is a battle to the death that overdrains one's ability." At this point, Mehuyang smiled lightly. He said in a clear voice, "The Academy's match naturally cannot be fought to the death. Tell the elders and elders that it is impossible to fight to the death. It is already too late. I can only act rashly. I hope that all the elders will forgive me." Although he said that he would forgive, Mehuyang had a smile on his face, and his tone was quite relaxed. After hearing Mehuyang's words, Elder Wu couldn't help but smile bitterly. His body moved and he arrived at the scene. He looked at Xiaoyan and Zhu Tianho. Both of their auras were quite low. Zhu Tianho's face was even paler. It was obvious that the attack just now had consumed too much of his strength. "You are right. The life force in this guy's body is a little low." Shaking his head, Elder Wu could only nod his head silently. "Oh." After listening to the conversation between the two, the veins on Zhu Tianho's forehead bulged. Just as he was about to speak, the weakness in his body attacked like floodwater. He was blown by the biting cold wind and instantly fainted on the ground. Xiaoyan took a deep look at Mehuyang. When he sensed the vast and boundless origin monic ki within Mehuyang's body, he clicked his tongue and sighed in his heart. He exhaled a breath of air and looked at the endless mountains in the distance. His vision turned black and he fainted. There was still quite a distance between him and Mehuyang even though they were both Saint rank trial participants. Chapter end. Please guys like, comment, share, and subscribe.